What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here. Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great beginning of 2026. We are here to do a fun little video. So, growing up, one of my favorite cartoons that was on Cartoon Network was Ben 10. I remember I watched almost pretty much every episode of the original series. Um, Alien Force. I kind of started to fall out of it with like Omniverse and a few of the other kind of side series of Ben 10, but the original Ben 10 series I loved as a kid. It gets a lot of hate, but Ben 10 Race Against Time is one of my favorites, and obviously it did not pretty much age well over the years. Like back then as a kid, you thought that was cool, but now it's like that was very terrible. So, what we're gonna be doing, if you saw by the thumbnail, we're gonna be going through and we're listing in a tier list the original Ben 10 series sets of aliens that we get, including Race Against Time and then the other animated movie. Um, Let me see. What was the other one? So there was Race Against Time and then Secrets of the Omnitrix. So there's in other ones too, but those main two. So we're doing like a little tier list with those particular aliens from the original series. So let's jump into it first and foremost. All right, so we got S tier, A tier, B, C, and D. Um, so where do I want to start? And this list has some of like the the combination of aliens because you had like Rip Jaws and Heat Blast that were mixed together, Stinkfly and Forearms mixed together, Diamond Head and Gray Matter. So you can kind of see them here that we've already kind of got them. So I want to start with uh let's start with Upchuck. Now Upchuck appeared in the episode that involved the Forever King and the -10. Upchuck was the reason that he was able to absorb. Um, I forgot what it was called. It's been years since I watched the series, but he absorbed like a power source and was able to defeat the Forever King. I really like that episode. I really like the two-part episode of the -10, because it brought together some of the old villains that we have not seen in a while, like the Circus Freaks, who was Zombozo. I won't say that wrong. Um, Clancy, Rojo, and a few other characters like that. So, Upchuck design wise is fine. Don't think Ben uses it that much. Uh, so I think I'm gonna put him in the C. I think I'm gonna put Upchuck in the C tier. I probably should have gone through and actually like list these as, but I think Upchuck's a C tier alien. I don't think he's bad, but very situational depending on what you need and things like that. In this case, he unlocked Upchuck for the this was the second appearance of him. And um so next one we've got Gray Matter. Now Gray Matter has never really been like one of my favorite aliens of the Ben 10 series. he There's not much special about him except for he's a Galvan, has high level intellect and things like that. Um he looks weird, definitely weird in Race Against Time. So he's not really like a favorite of mine design wise. He looks okay. I mean, he's just a Galvan. So um, I think design wise he's fine, but like not really my favorite. Um, so there's that. There's that. So now while we're on that, we got the combination of both Diamond Head and Gray Matter. This was the episode. I'm trying to remember exactly which episode, what it was about, but the Omnitrix was like mixing aliens. Design wise, okay, but like Again, not really. Like you only saw him this one episode, so he's really forgettable. You know what? I want to move gray matter to C tier because I don't think that's fair. Because you do see, obviously, you see a lot more gray matter throughout the series compared to the diamond matter. I guess if you want to call it a little mixture. I don't think they actually had names. That was the thing. Um, Eon from Race Against Time. I didn't really like um the look of him. Now he makes an appearance again in, I believe it's Omniverse. I think it's Omniverse is when he makes it like an appearance again, but he does come back. But I don't know. I didn't like this design. I kind of wish he looked more like the actual villain of Eon instead of like this Ben 10ish version. But I put him in a D tier. Don't really care for like the design and of it. And you don't see him all that often, so it's kind of like not really that great. Um, Ditto, Ditto was Ditto's fine. Um, he's okay. He's just this was like a I know this was like a Doctor Animo episode is when he makes his first appearance and he just multiplies. That's really all he does is just multiply. I like the design. I actually do like the design. Um, I think Ditto is pretty much a C tier kind of alien for me. Not really great, but I think he's C tier. I don't think he's an S, A, or B tier. Where like obviously S is like top tier, A is really good, and then B is about average. Is probably where I would probably like make probably say it. Rip Jaws. No, Jaws is one of my favorites. He is so cool. I love the design wise. I love he reminds what was it a angelfish is what they're called. Um, definitely you don't see again. It's another alien you don't see all that much except for like moments where the Omnitrix kind of fritzes out and gives Ben an alien that he probably doesn't really need in the moment. Um, I like Ripjaws though. I do love him. He's like one of my favorites. Well, since we're already at it, so the Heat Blast Ripjaws version, I would definitely put in B tier also. I like that combination. Now, obviously, it's like if you're in water, you can't really use Heat Blast's powers that well, but I kind of like that combination. It's a very interesting one. So I'll put that along in B tier as well. We've got Forearms. Forearms is a staple of one of Ben's aliens. Pretty much not his go-to in the original series. He typically tries to go forearms a lot of the time. I remember the episode when he was basically like training how to like be better, uh, get a better grasp of the aliens in the Omnitrix. Ben kind of had to learn like maybe brute strength isn't always the right choice. Forearms is actually probably one of my favorites. I think he's an S tier alien. Um, again, just a staple of him. And then I remember in Alien Race Against Time when Ben gets embarrassed by the bullies, he tries to like go forearms, but it gets turned into gray matter. But he definitely one of my favorites. Arctic Guana. You don't really see him except for once, and that was with the Ben 10,000 episode. I like it, not bad, but you don't really see him all that often to really make a difference for me. Like I'm putting them in D tier, but that doesn't mean like they're bad designs or characters or anything like that. You just don't see them used a whole lot, and so that's why I'm kind of like pretty much in D tier. I really love that episode, Ben 10,000. It's really cool episode. I is another one because Secret of the Omnitrix was so interesting because it had two different versions, maybe three, if I'm trying to remember correctly. I know two because I was in because the episode opens with them fighting, I believe, Animo. You had one version of where Ben is fighting as I, um, and then the other version, I believe, is him fighting as Accelerate. I feel like there's a third one. I can't. I don't know why. I can't think of why, but I feel like there is a third one. I can't remember who it was though, but I thought it was pretty cool. I is okay. I don't mind. I don't mind the powers. Design looks cool. Um, don't really mind it at all. Um, Gigawatt. I don't think it's Gigawatt. I forgot his name because you only saw him during not being 10,000, but well, you saw it as a villain in one of the episodes, but like there's an episode where we go back to Ben 10,000 and he has a son named Ken, and this is one of the aliens that he puts in the Omnitrix or in the original Omnitrix of 10. So you only see him once, even though you do have an episode of these gigawatt aliens as villains, but you only see him once, so that's probably why I'll put him like here in this little D tier area. We got Frankenben. Another thing I liked about it was like this was my favorite. So this is after Ghost Freak escapes, and we get basically like this several series of episodes of like horror monsters because you have the werewolf, the mummy, and basically Frankenstein. Um, I like it. I like this design more than what you see in later series when they bring him back. I didn't really care for it. Um, really like it. I love like classic, Hollywood movie monsters like Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Frankenstein. I love those type of monsters and stuff like that. So, but you don't really see him used that much. But I like the design. I like the episodes that he's involved with. So that's probably why I would put him in the C tier. Spitter is another one. Spitter I will probably put in D tier because he's a Ben 10,000 episode. So you pretty much only see him once. So there's not really much of a thing to add about him in particular. So um the Stinkfly forearms combination, not bad. Not really my favorite. Definitely would just put it in D tier. Just not really one of my favorite episodes. Uh, Wild Mutt. Wild Mutt is okay. He's okay. He's not bad. I don't mind him. The Race Against Time live action CGI version is very weird to look at, but he's not bad. Actually, he's okay. He's all right. I think with Wild Mutt, I think just because he's a classic, I definitely would put him in the C tier of aliens that I like. Way Big's another one. He's from Secrets of the Omnitrix. Was his first appearance. Um, Never really been a really Way Big kind of fan, honestly. He it's not that he's bad. Again, like none of these aliens are bad. At least in the original series, there are some later on that I don't like, mainly because of the style of design that they changed in some of the later series of Ben 10. But he's not bad. Way Big is probably. I'm sure there's people who like Way Big. I don't necessarily like. I think he is useful. I think he's not bad. Like again, like just because I'm putting them in D doesn't mean they're bad. It's just like personally, I just don't really care for them that much as aliens. Um, Ghost Freak, I will put Ghost Freak in A tier. One of my favorite aliens growing up as a kid was Ghost Freak. I loved him. Now you don't see him all that often, except for the Zombozo episode with the Circus Freaks, and then obviously, when Ghost Freak finally escapes out of the Omnitrix, you have him in that moment as well. But Ghost Freak is one of my favorite aliens. Like he's one of my favorite, but he's not like top tier of my favorites. Um, another one of my favorites is Accelerate. Love him. I love the dinosaur velociraptor kind of look of him. I really loved the Ben 10,000 version of Accelerate because it looks cool. The color scheme is cool. He has like a scanner inside the helmet. Definitely one of my favorites. Or at least I definitely would say if I had to choose, I would prefer the Ben 10,000 version compared to the original. But I just love Accelerate overall. He's definitely one of my favorites. Wildvine. He appeared in that episode with the alien fungus and all that. Uh, Probably would put him into C tier. Um, I like him. I like the episode. The episode's good. But like as far as like not all that interested in Wildvine. Like even though I do like it and everything, not really a huge fan of it. Upgrade. I would put Upgrade in the A tier, just mainly because of one. Again, looks cool. And then like just some of the like the cool things he does throughout the series with him attaching to different technologies, improving them, and especially I'll even give it a bonus because of that crossover that Ben 10. Um, it's not Alien Force. Uh, well, it probably was Alien Force, but they because if you remember, they had that crossover with Ben 10 and Generator Rex. Uh, and so Upgrade was kind of cool in that one too. So I give him a little bit extra boost because of that. But Upgrade's another one who's kind of been like my favorite. And then he got to a point to where he could start shooting uh like energy like an energy beam out of his eye. And so definitely one of my favorites. Cannonbolt. Cannonbolt, I will put in the C tier. He was the first, I believe. Yeah, he was the first new alien that we got in the series. And so I like him because of that because we actually got a new alien at this point. Cannonbolt's very cool. Just a armored armadillo, pretty much. Um, it was in the episode where you had like a giant, not snail, but like these aliens thought this was like a giant prophet, and they were gonna eat like the Earth's natural resources and things like that. So really like it. Stinkfly is another one that I will put in B tier. I like Stinkfly. Um, I can't remember what it was about him. Obviously, ability to fly. I like the voice. I think the voice is very cool. To go along with it. Um, Diamond Head is definitely I would say an A tier from or an S tier for me. Again, another one of Ben's classics who shows up a good bit throughout the series. And love his powers, love his ability. Again, see him in Race Against Time. I actually think the Race Against Time, that CGI version of Diamond Head isn't that bad. I think it's relatively okay. But Diamond Head's another one of my favorites. Ben Wolf, I am actually gonna put in. Hmm, this was actually tough because it could go in. To me, it could go in A or B. I would put it in B, primarily because you don't see him used again. You only see him in the episode with the werewolf. This was basically the start of session, not session, that those episodes involving Ghost Freak's return and stuff like that with the Mummy and Frankenstein. You only see him once, but I loved the episode. Now they did kind of like change a little bit because Ben spent the entire episode transforming into Ben Wolf, and the showrunners and designers probably couldn't spend that kind of time again on on that. So nowadays, or after this particular episode, each time Ben obtained alien DNA, it was a lot quicker. It happened with the Mummy as well. Um, the Mummy for sure. Again, I just love him. Love the design of the Mummy. Another one that you don't see enough. You only see him once. Um, well, actually, no. You see him twice. Um, you see him twice because you see him again in another Ben 10,000 episode where he kind of like rescues Ken out of a vent he got stuck in or something like that. So, and then last but not least is my boy Heat Blast. Heat Blast is definitely one of my favorites. The first alien we saw, Heat Blast, or at least the first one being used was Heat Blast. One of my favorites to this day. Loved him. Love his design. So cool. The Ben 10,000 version where he has like the open hole what's the word? Not holes. I maybe I don't want to say fire pits because that's kind of lame. Maybe I guess we can go with fire pits. He has those like popping out of his shoulders and things like that. So definitely one of my favorites. And even the Ben 10 again, the Race Against Time aliens, the CGI of them don't hold up now in 2026, but back then he just looked very very cool, and I just love the design of him. But yeah, pretty much this is just my thoughts on like the alien designs and stuff like that. Um, I don't know if I would change anything. I'm curious on what y'all would change in this regard. Like, where would you put some of these aliens? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about it. Um, but guys, that is relatively it. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Comment below. Drop in the comment section, where would you place these aliens in your own tier? Or like, where should one be moved to a different tier? I would love to hear you guys' thought on that. You can also check out the gaming channel for all things gaming as well. And thank you guys again for hanging out. Thank you guys again for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.